Hey guys, hey Andrew, hey Brian.
Hi, Clem.
What's going
Hey,
Okay,
on?
Andrew.
How you
It's been a
doing?
while. Yeah, good.
yeah, doing
It's
good.
been a while since I've been.
I wasn't sure if I had the right link.
Yeah, me
Looks
either.
like,
Ready this?
yeah.
Always
Everybody
tricky.
rolling in.
Hi, Earl.
Clint's
Yeah,
here. Are we live?
Yeah, we're live, but we're waiting
Yeah.
for Chris.
David.
Seeing everyone in the attendee list. I know a few of you. Wonder how many Otter AI bots we're gonna have today.
Depends how much you want.
Bring them all live.
Okay, guys, so we're waiting for Andrew and Chris, and we're set to start.
Let's do it.
How
How's
was
everybody
your week?
doing?
Yeah,
good.
doing great,
Great.
doing great. And how was your week, guys?
Not bad.
So far,
Not
so
bad.
good.
Good.
Hot.
I was just gonna say hot. I'm
It
in
is
Kansas City.
hot.
It's not here. Yeah.
I'm outside Philly. We're sitting at 98 right now.
Brutal.
So good to be in my basement for this.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd be the cool one being in Texas. Kind of having the colder weather pattern here, like 80s, low 90s.
Ooh,
That's cold for this time of year.
sounds
That's
nice.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty soon, 40 plus days of over 100 probably again this year.
Yeah.
I remember.
Rolling
Okay,
in.
guys, I guess we can start. Probably like Chris will join us on the way, and yeah, let me kick that off. I'll start with my presentation and then we'll just go one by one.
Perfect.
Can you see my screen, guys?
You're
Yes.
good.
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. So let's start with our topic. So today's topic is actually how to grow 30% this year by expanding to Amazon Europe. And we'll start with some general template. If you're an Amazon seller, you actually have several paths to grow your brand and grow your revenues in the following year, in the next few years, like always. So it's kind of an easy scheme that you can use when you're thinking of how you want to grow. So there are 5 things that you can do. Probably there are some more, but these are like 5 key ones. First one is obviously capitalizing on what you already have and growing your Amazon US brand, meaning like you can work on PPC, you can work on CRs and CTRs with your brand, and by that, like capture more organic positions and grow further with your Amazon brand. The second path, like the second thing that you can do actually is launch new products. That's also kind of obvious. You can always launch more products, and if they're successful, they can double, triple your current business size. And that's also a very good thing to do. So you can actually like do all of that in parallel. This is just a structured scheme, not to forget what you can do in terms of your business growth. So then it's all about hiring expertise. For example, you can hire someone from an agency, let's say like Brian, who can expand you to new channels, like going retail, going new marketplaces, hiring a person that have a specific expertise in any field that you currently lack. So that's also like a good path to grow when you hire in a talent. The third way is to actually get new traffic, and that's in regards of out of Amazon traffic. So let's say TikTok traffic, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, all of that. So that's also like a good way to grow your Amazon business, just to lead that external traffic into your Amazon listings and see how it works for you. Obviously, it doesn't work for all the products well. It works better with FMCG, CPG products that have some repeatable customers, but that can also be like a great addition to your growth plans. And the last one is also like kind of obvious, but not the easiest one, is new channels. By that, you can imagine everything. It can be Amazon Europe. It can be new marketplaces. It can be your D2C Shopify website if you do not have a current one. And today, guys, I'll concentrate on Amazon Europe as a new channel and how we can help and what in particular you should know about Amazon Europe not to miss out on that opportunity. So today we're speaking of the fifth way on this graph, how you can grow. And let's start. So actually, like the total e-commerce size and sales in Europe were pretty comparable to Amazon US. While you can see Amazon US roughly does $1.2 trillion in sales, in Europe it's roughly $1 trillion in sales. So actually, like when you compare Europe to US, they're kind of comparable, and you can make same money in these both geographies. But when we start talking about Amazon, it becomes a bit trickier. So Amazon in US is the main sales platform. Like everyone knows it. It has exactly the same prices.
Oh no. We lost one. We lost the main one.
Yeah.
That's always fun when that happens. All right, downtime. Gentlemen, this is where we shine. Who's got like a tight 5 good stand-up that they're ready to go with? Dave, you want to start us off? Texas, let's go. What do you got?
Like a stand-up comedy? We're talking about
Sure.
a stand-up comedy routine? Because I definitely don't have that. But I've got plenty of Amazon stuff, Amazon stories. Could we actually do a quick, like, everyone say hey and introduce your company? Because I saw the emails to introduce you guys, but I don't think I've actually met any of the panelists yet.
Love it. Let's do it.
Sure.
I'll start. So I'm Dave, originally from Massachusetts, but in Texas now. And I got into Amazon 10 years ago, working for the big giant Thrasio back when they were starting to acquire Amazon brands. So that's what got me into this world and has kept me here for almost a decade now.
Hey guys, something happened to me.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Where did I stop? Do you know?
I think it was right around there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry guys. Some technical troubles. So now, where did we stop? I was telling about Amazon Europe, and actually, like, you can hear me, guys, and see my screen, just to make sure.
Yep.
Yeah, and European market compared to the US one is much more fragmented. So right now in Europe, we have a bunch of marketplaces competing to each other. But one good thing about Amazon that it's taken over the lid, and right now Amazon is actually like the main marketplace in Europe. And it's slowly killing all the competition because no one can compete with Amazon in terms of the fulfillment, in terms of the speed of delivery, and many other stuff, loyalty programs. So Amazon in Europe is quickly catching up, quickly growing, and given the fact that in Europe, Amazon US appeared much earlier than Amazon Europe, actually Amazon doing very good in Europe. So Amazon has actually grown 12% year over year in Europe. And given the current size, it's around 120 billion. It will reach around 200 billion just in 2030. And actually, that will reflect 50% of your current US sales right now if you started selling on Amazon Europe. So if you're doing, like, as you can see on the bottom of your slide, of our slide, if you're doing 100K on Amazon US right now, you could be easily adding 30K a month just from Amazon Germany and UK. And that's a good opportunity. And by 2030, it will be 50K a month. So guys, don't leave this opportunity on the table. I know it's hard, but you definitely need to capitalize on Amazon Europe and start selling it there. So in the next slide, we'll just talk about what stops you from selling in Europe. We already know how much it can bring to you right now. In terms of the numbers, as I said, roughly 30% from your US sales we can do right now. And in 5 years, most likely it will be 50% or even more. So the real reasons why sellers do not expand into Europe are actually there are several reasons, and we've been through that path with our company since we're an Amazon seller ourselves. And yeah, there are a bunch of problems you're facing, like VAT headaches. You'll have to register VAT in all the countries. Like if you're selling some complicated products like cosmetics, supplements, it will be a compliance nightmare. You'd have to go ingredient by ingredient, figuring out what's allowed in Europe, what's not. Also shipping, returns, language barrier, market localizations, bunch of them. But what we can do, we actually can help you launching in Europe very quick. So what we do as a company, we have two different businesses. First one, we're an FBA aggregator, so we acquire brands on Amazon, and we ourselves do around 150 million in sales on Amazon with our brands. Besides that, around a year ago, we started a new service where we launched successful Amazon US sellers into Europe. So how it works, it's kind of simple. We're becoming your distributor. We just purchase your product at the markup we agreed on. We do all the compliance, even if you're selling complicated products like supplements, cosmetics, we're doing researches, we're paying for certificates, we do all of that. We purchase your products, ship them to Amazon at our own cost, and then we manage your products on Amazon, Europe. Under Europe, I mean 6 countries, where Italy, UK, Germany, France, Spain, and Netherlands. And we do everything. We localize listings. We do manage the PPC for you. We do supply the budgets for PPC. So it's kind of an easy way for you to tap into Europe and see what results you can get in there. And if you, let's say in 2-3 years, would like to take over all the sales and start selling in Europe yourself, we're more than fine with that. We'll be there like for 2-3 years to ramp up your sales, and then we can decide what to do next with it. So guys, that will be it for my presentation. Feel free to contact me to write us. You can see the QR code website on that slide, and we'd be happy to speak with everyone. Even if you're not in the place to expand right now, we can do a free research. We can look at your brand, tell you how well it can perform on these European markets. And yeah, feel free to contact me. Always happy to chat. Thank you, guys. Okay, cool, guys. I believe it's Andrew who's next. Andrew, please feel free to take the mic.
I gotcha. All right. Can everybody see my screen? All good?
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, all good.
Okay. So I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach here, and I'm going to talk about how you can leverage different elements from an off Amazon perspective to actually grow your business on Amazon. Now, I know obviously the purpose of this webinar today is to explain to everyone how you can grow 30% on Amazon. I'm going to talk to you about how you can grow 30% off Amazon and on Amazon simultaneously using more of an omni-channel marketing approach. Before I get into that, obviously the often question I get is, who the hell are you and why should I listen to you? My name is Andrew Maftone. I have been in e-commerce marketing for, I think, 16 or 17 years at this point. It is basically all I've ever done. I have been in-house at multiple 8-figure brands as the only marketer. I have been an owner of multiple other marketing agencies, and I'm now the owner of Blue Tusker, a full-service marketing firm for e-commerce sellers, as well as the host of the e-com show. So what that really means is I probably have cleared over 1,000 brands at this point in my career. And this is a common thing that is always a conversation. Even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, in fact, even when I was in-house, there was an issue where it was a good size 8-figure brand. About 70% of the business was Amazon. It was peak Q4. Things were going really well. Credit card hit a limit. We had to change out the credit card. Amazon thought it was fraud, shut the whole account down for 2 weeks, peak Q4. I immediately was like, we can't be so reliant on this channel. And so that's when I started really looking into more omni-channel approaches and why I really kind of focus on this. And that is exactly what Blue Tusker does all day long. And so these omni-channel approaches, I'm going to kind of stick to a paid media element a little bit today, but I will also talk about the own media side. You will also notice that because I have about 10 minutes to give you as much value as possible, I'm going to talk real fast. So if you miss anything, feel free to reach out. message me on LinkedIn, or if you can message me here, or whatever you want to do, and I will help you out. But these are facts. Over the last 5 years, on average, Amazon's FBA fees have increased an average of 10% year over year. CPCs have averaged an increase of 8% year over year, and competition has averaged a 6% increase year over year. In March of this year, I was lucky enough to have a very similar presentation done at Prosper, and was actually lucky enough to do it right next to Amazon's booth, which was uncomfortable. But I did have someone at Amazon actually come up to me and mention that last year in 2024, 73% of sales came from in Amazon US came from non-Amazon US sellers. They came from overseas brands. They could have an entity here in the States, but 73%. I think that's a lie. It seems astronomically big, but even if that's close, that's ridiculous. And so what's happening is you're seeing a lot of these overseas brands bring in these products where they can keep the price point very low, and they're doing the whole race to the bottom thing. The issue is all of Amazon's fees are going up, so your margins are just getting crushed. And if you actually do the math on, I think the average selling price on a product for Amazon is like $75 or something like that. And let's say you kind of have your average COGS of about a 50%. You factor in your FBA fees, your CPCs. If you actually sit down and do the math, which one of these days I should add to this presentation, if obviously you would have to increase your pricing at a certain point, but if you left it as is because you couldn't beat out the overseas competition, you would literally have zero margin in the next like 5 to 6 years. So assuming that obviously you didn't increase your pricing, theoretically you'd be completely out of business in the next several years. And so that's why I really start to lean in on these omni-channel approaches. Staying single channel focused becomes very, very risky. Amazon can pull the rug out from you at any moment, and your business is completely gone. So I'm a big fan of how can we be less reliant on this channel, but not bite the hand that feeds us. And so incorporating these more omni-channel strategies allows you to really look at leveraging Amazon's data to grow off Amazon and actually control your own destiny, but at the same time, feed it back to Amazon so that you can continue to grow there as well. And so the way that you benefit is you get control over your own results. You start to earn the data back. You can actually earn the data that Amazon loves to keep to themselves by getting those customers to go from Amazon back to your website, which I'm going to talk about. It also helps increase brand awareness. So you're not competing so much for these incredibly broad, expensive keywords. You're actually growing your own brand. So people are searching your brand name more often. You'll have significantly higher results, which I'm sure we all know branded campaigns on Amazon always outperform, just like any other platform. You also have the freedom to gather and leverage your own data, so you can do whatever you want with the data. But my favorite thing is if you're going to exit the business one day, if you are an FBA business, on average, if you hit that 10 million mark, you're going to exit for about a 2 to 3x EBITDA. If you actually hit that same mark, $10 million business, but you have your own D2C element, you have your own social media following, website followers, email subscribers, etc., all of that extra data opens you up to a larger buyer pool, and because of that, increases your EBITDA up to a 3 to 5x when you go to exit. So there's a big jump, not only in your profitability between now and when you exit, but also in your actual selling price. Consumers also benefit from this. On the consumer side, they get to shop wherever they're most comfortable. Some people love shopping with you on your site, others like Amazon, some like Walmart, Target. They can go wherever they want, but because you're available in all these other areas, they now become more confident in their own purchase. So you can not only cross-reference different marketplaces, but you can actually look at how you can point them in the direction that you need them to go in, depending on what you may have going on certain marketplaces. We did a big overall kind of project with Gorilla Glue. If you're familiar with them, they do it on steroids. If you go to their website, you pick out something on Gorilla Glue, you will see you don't even have the ability to buy on their website. They just list every marketplace that they're available on. I don't know that I would go to that extreme, but it's kind of like leveraging your own website as a catalog of availability of where you can go shop. Now, I want to explain why I did this. Years ago, I got to watch my wife shop. Super fun. She got hit with an Instagram ad, went to their website, checked out the product on there, saw they got hit with a pop-up, first order pop-up, right? 10% off your first order, something like that. She wanted to do more due diligence because her assumption was on the PDP, people have more control over the reviews. So she went to Amazon where she knows they don't have control. So she learned on the Amazon listing How is everyone talking about this? Does it look good? She didn't need it in 2 days. It was the exact same price. So she remembered that she had the pop-up. So she went and searched the brand name. I don't know why. So she hit a Google ad, went back to the website, went back to her email to get the pop-up, used the coupon she had, made the purchase. If you're a marketer, that is a nightmare in terms of figuring out attribution. But this is how consumers shop now. They shop wherever they're most comfortable. And so that's kind of what got me thinking, how can we control this more? So what we started to do was we actually took about, I think it was about a dozen brands or so, and we left their ad spend completely stagnant for a month across all channels. And then the next month we did the same thing, but we increased ad spend by about 10%. And almost every brand, we saw about a 6 to 7% supplemental increase in revenue on their website, but then about a 3 to 4% increase on Amazon. And this was because people were going to the site, leaving their site, and then going to Amazon to shop. And because of this, we started to figure out, like, okay, how can we control this more? So we started implementing an available on Amazon button. It was a completely custom button we made that was underneath the buy now button on people's websites that would allow them to go straight to the Amazon listing, so that we weren't letting them go and search on Amazon, because then obviously you have more competition showing up, people bidding on your brand name, etc. And so we started to leverage this more. What we did is we took the Amazon attribution code and we would send them straight to Amazon, straight to the listing. So they'd still get the 10% commission from it. We would use a Google Tag Manager to basically track on through a Google Tag Manager how many people clicked on the actual Amazon button. And so what we would do is we would actually take the Amazon attribution value, divide it by the total amount of clicks, and we would come up with what we referred to as like a click value. So we could attribute an actual value to a click based on the conversion rate of people going to the listing. And so we could feed this data back to Google Ads and Meta Ads, because Amazon obviously doesn't talk to those platforms, and actually teach them how to improve the overall ROAS of people that may be purchasing on the website or the ones that are going to Amazon. The biggest benefit, you have 10% referral commission from the attribution link. It improves your organic ranking on Amazon because you're driving off Amazon traffic. And so obviously more orders, more engagement, more reviews, improved organic ranking. And it boosts the overall customer experience because we're letting them shop wherever they're most comfortable. The downside, you're still paying Amazon fees, so there's nothing you can do about that. You don't get to keep the data. It's kind of more of like a duct tape solved problem. And the true conversions don't actually get credited back to Meta or Google, right? You have no idea if they actually did convert. It's all just based on the formula put together. And it's really difficult to retarget people because you don't know who actually purchased. So you basically can't retarget people that click the button. Then, in January of 2023, Buy with Prime was released. If you're not familiar with Buy with Prime, essentially, this is the ability of having Prime directly on your website. It's kind of like they basically put a button on there. Someone can check out, and as long as you're in Amazon US and you are Prime, you can try out Buy with Prime. It's basically free to test it out for the most part. So people can go through, they go to a PDP, they see the Buy with Prime button, and then they check out on your website. You get to keep all of the data. So unlike if they shop on Amazon, you get their name, their last name, you get their address, phone number, you can set up different retargeting, you can do whatever you normally do through a D2C site. Obviously, there's a big jump in conversion because they can shop a lot easier. You can bring reviews over, so it improves social proof. There's a ton of stuff through that. But you can still do the Google Tag Manager to see how many people actually were interested in shopping with you through Amazon and integrate that directly with your Meta Ads, Google Ads, any of your email marketing through Google Analytics, and build out the segmented audiences, which is a big benefit because that data is yours. You get to keep the data. Way fewer fees. So there's no Amazon FBA fee. They have a 3% commission, which right now I think they're waiving because they want people to try it. And then they do MCF fulfillment fees. So depending on how big the product is, 9 times out of 10, it's still wildly less expensive than selling directly on Amazon. And now you control a lot of the different elements in terms of marketing to your consumer. And you get a lot of better conversion rate during holidays. We all know if you have your own D2C site, let's say a week before Christmas, all of a sudden your D2C site starts to fall off, but Amazon still does well until about like the day, 2 days before Christmas. You can now get those extra shopping days on your own website because people know that they'll be able to get it in a matter of a couple days. Then, this was the big thing. As of September at Amazon Accelerate, they announced that you can now use Amazon DSP to drive traffic from Amazon back to your website. So you can actually do different upsell opportunities of incentivizing people to subscribe on your website or incentivizing them to upsell to purchase other things. There's a ton of additional stuff there. The downside is there are still some Amazon fees. It doesn't benefit your Amazon listings at all because you're not sending them to the marketplace. And they got really strict brand rules. So you're still kind of stuck with that blue button. So leveraging all this stuff, and I'm going to try to fly through this because I know I'm running out of time. It improves the overall conversion rate. We did a bunch of tests with them where we actually saw that it would improve conversion rates even if you took away the buy with Prime orders, because consumers seem to really like the ability to shop on Amazon and that you had the extra reviews coming in. So even if you negate those orders, you'd see a big jump in conversion rate. But where it gets really interesting is now the data that you get, right? You can now segment all of your audiences off Amazon to decipher who actually likes shopping with you on Amazon. And so you can take that and actually start to drive the traffic back to Amazon when you need to. We all know when you launch a new product, you've got like a 30 to 60 day honeymoon period because Amazon wants to give you more eyeballs than you're probably going to get as it starts to fall off. So it's a great time to drive as much traffic to that product to start to get that snowball effect. Or if you're having an event, you're doing something big for Prime Day, or you need to sell through product on Amazon, you now have a completely segmented audience of data that you own of people that you know like to shop on Amazon. So it's a great way to leverage this paid media to direct traffic where you need it to go. Or you can do the Amazon DSP side, which like in this scenario, we worked with Gladiator Cargo Nets in something where they were actually incentivizing people who had visited their Amazon listings and didn't convert to come back to their website and purchase there so they could earn back the data. We've done other stuff as well where we're incentivizing people to come back to the website to subscribe or to upsell into other products. You can do the exact same thing with email, which I'll skim over because it's basically the same approach. And then you can bring it all together. So getting your paid media, your email marketing, both your Amazon, on Amazon and off Amazon channels to work together and to develop a really more omni-channel approach that finally allows you to actually have control over your own future as opposed to being so reliant on Amazon, who can pull the rug out from you at any point. The best way to do this, to start trying it, is to start driving, use sponsored brands, drive traffic to your storefront. Find out if your storefront has the ability to convert. Once you prove that out, then start testing off Amazon marketing. Just do like Meta ads or just Google ads, depends on your product line. Drive the traffic to that storefront and see if you can get off Amazon traffic to convert. Once you can prove that out, then don't jump directly into a website. You don't have to. You can do like a landing page, something basic with one of your top sellers and still give people the opportunity to go to Amazon. Because what you're trying to prove is, are these people more likely to shop with you because you're available on Amazon, or can you get them to convert off Amazon? Then as you start to do that, you can take that funding and start to look at, do you want to build a website? Do you want to start to build a brand and not be so reliant on the channel that is basically eating all of your margins? And that was, I think I went a little bit over and I apologize, but I do want to give everybody the opportunity because I know I kind of just spoke as fast as physically possible. If you head over to bluetusker.com/omnichannel, we'll give you a completely free paid media review and a 30-minute consultation with our team. They will look at all of your advertising channels and help you decipher how they are overlapping. And so you can actually build out a more omni-channel approach. And Buy with Prime did allow me for this event specifically to offer, if anyone wants to try it, they'll do a completely free implementation. I think I might be able to get their commission fee waived, and they're doing up to $20,000 in matching ad spend credits for Amazon DSP if you want to give it a try. So feel free to reach out. Again, bluetusker.com/omnichannel. And thank you all for the time. And that was all I had. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Andrew. That was very cool. Nice presentation. David, you're next.
All right, thanks.
Cool.
Cool. All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit here, and we're going to go back on platform. Can you guys all see my screen?
Yep.
Thumbs up. All right, awesome. So we're going back to Amazon, and now we're talking about how to make your listing convert better, which is simple in practice, or it's simple in concept, but very difficult in practice. It's much more than just making some pretty pictures. And so, first of all, I'm Dave, And I'm the owner and the COO of two different agencies that are kind of sister agencies. One is Amazing Marketing, which is your traditional management side, and then Amazing Creative, which is the design specialist. And I was the first marketing team member over at Thrasio. I own a couple brands myself and sell on Amazon. And kind of my mission of what I'm oriented in and why I'm still in CPG is just I love helping people and brands sell and tell their stories on Amazon, TikTok, and beyond. So who are we? Like I said, we've got the design side, which is Amazing Creative, and then the parent company, which is Amazing Marketing Co. And it's essentially a management firm for serious Amazon sellers, mid-market, typically 1 to 100 in revenue on Amazon. And the design agency focuses solely on designing premium pages. So everything soup to nuts, packaging all the way through to your brand story that convert like crazy. And we've got this down to a science. So I'm excited to spend 10 minutes here with you guys and give you some insights and show you and make it pretty simple step by step of what's working right now and what we implement for some of the top brands on Amazon. So first things first, what actually impacts conversion? There's a lot of things that can impact your conversion rate. And let's start with the detail page. So breaking it down, and you can see the key on the right side. We have our main image, secondary images, listing videos, which aren't necessarily as important for conversion, but title, review and ratings, and then actually price, variation family, and how that's set up, and then ship time. All of these things are super, super important for making your listing convert good or bad. And then not shown here on this picture is down below the fold, which is your brand story, A+ or premium A+, and then your review section. And all of these things factor into it. Now, the question that everyone's asking, right? How do I actually sell better? What's going to make me sell better on Amazon, right? And for pricing, people are going to say you do this, you do that. The best thing for pricing that I've found is test and learn. Test your pricing, use repricers, whatever. We're not going to talk about that today. And then the solution for your shipping speed, if you're not well stocked and you have, if you look in Atlanta and you check your zip codes in LA and you're not same day or 1 day shipping, what people say is just send more inventory, right? There's no secret hacks. Send more inventory, get better stocked across the country. But then conversion, this high level thing, that's the question, right? And that's what we're going to find it. So enough fluff. Show me the money, right? I'll show you the money. I'll show you our formula that we use for making these $1 million listings. And I'll break it down in a way that's pretty digestible and implementing it for your brand is going to be easy to plug in. So first step is actually understanding your traffic. So how are your customers finding you? And like any Amazon seller, depending on how old you are or if you're new, it's going to be different. But a portion of your customers, they know you guys already. They've seen it before. They've bought from you before. But then the majority of most Amazon brands, their customers are seeing you for the first time. Most of your traffic, they've never seen you or they've never bought from you, and they need to know if your product actually solves what they need, right? So what do these people need to know? This big portion. So this is where you do your research. Look at your customer feedback that you're getting from existing customers, competitor customer reviews, customer service FAQs that people ask a lot, and then look at some winning brands in your category. And the goal is answer your customers' questions before they buy. And so now we get into the second step is how do we capture the right attention, right? Because not every click is qualified. And a big part of improving your conversion rate is actually diverting traffic that's not qualified to purchase your product, that they're not a right fit for you. So how do we qualify this traffic, right? Number one, and this is arguably the most important thing, right, is tell your customer exactly what your product is, make it idiot proof, follow the 3-second rule, make it a no-brainer. And so that's where the main image comes into play, super important. And so I put a bunch of examples, you'll see them throughout the presentation, of images that I think are good for one reason or another. And the main trend here is if you look at this main image on all of these, for the most part, you can understand what the product is. So it's not just pasta, it's protein pasta, right? It's not just creatine gummies, it's 5,000 milligrams with L-taurine and B12. It says exactly what it is, and it follows that 3-second rule. So for your hero image, your main image, a few things to do. High res, white background, unless you're in one of the categories where that's not applicable. Use your color theory to show the contrast, right? Make it brighter, make it eye-catching. That creatine example here, that's in that green package, it's not actually that green when you get it, but it's digitally rendered to just make it look a little brighter and follow that color theory. Keep your text large and readable. The last thing that I like to see is wasted space in that tiny square that nobody can read. What's the point of it? Make sure it's readable. Make sure that main keyword is on your image. Take up the full square if you can. And then again, the most important thing here is the customer needs to understand it from 1,000 feet away, what it is immediately. Where I see conversion rates get tanked is when there's that disconnect from the main image, from the very first click of somebody was like, oh, I thought it was this. And then they clicked on it and they're like, oh, that's not actually what I'm looking for. And then they bounce. So save yourself some wasted ad spend and just wasted clicks in general, and roll out some of this stuff. Now, number 2 is actually optimizing from the SERP level, so the search results page, and it's more than just your main image. And the big 4 things here is make sure your title is effective, push those important terms that clarify your product to the first 50 characters so that people on mobile and browser can see that. And then of course, this is something that's harder to control, but a healthy rating score and review count makes a world of difference in terms of conversion rate. And then your pricing and promotion strategy of getting those clicks, and then once they come to your page, having that sense of urgency, lightning deals, etc., having a strategy there. And then I say niche competitive delivery window because if you're in a custom product niche and all of your competitors take a week to ship, this is less important for you. But if you're in a space like creatine monohydrate gummies and you're not shipping same day or next day, they're going to eat your lunch, because all of your competitors are going to be doing better than you. Now, all right, we've got our traffic. What's next? And here I'm going to break down each of the 6 concepts that we like to use the most for secondary images and what each one of those kind of has to do with conversion. So step 3, and this is the last step, is taking someone from a viewer to a buyer and turning all those eyeballs into cash, right? So this is all about designing your listing with sales conversion focus, not just aesthetic, not just looking good, right? Each image needs to hit home on one selling point. Don't try to cram too much information. I don't care if your product is a 20-in-1, one thing at a time. The customer can only ingest a little bit of information at once. And you don't need to cram everything into their brain to sell them. You really just need the most important stuff. So first, as soon as you swipe, first image, that's got to hit. All right, I'm here. Now sell me. That's got to be your sales pitch. That's got to be the one that is your most important thing. Even if your product does 3 things well, pick one, right? And that's this. So if you look at the Goddess Bites, it's selling you tone your body in 30 days or less. Mighty Patch, shrink the look of your pimples in 1 use. It's getting across that key sales pitch super quick, not too much information. So here's my tips on this. Have your one-liner, everyday dose. They use it's coffee but better. Say exactly what the key benefit is, no convoluted messaging, none of the language there, and then just make it super easy for a new customer to understand that's just now discovering you. And sell your solution to a problem, emotion, or status. What's the customer going to feel once they purchase your product? And then rolling through number 2, I'll go through these pretty quick. This is your problem solution image. You can see a bunch of examples here. Why do people need this? Why did you launch this? What's the point? How are you solving that problem better than other people? Right? And then introducing the problem in a clear way, have an emotional angle, use a question. Do you wish you had this? Did you know that? Using questions keeps the customer engaged. And then clarifying if your product is good for a certain customer but not others. So in the mattress world, for example, it could be for side sleepers, stomach sleepers, etc. And then only talk about the number 1 most important problem for people that are searching that product. And you can do it by volume. So number 3, this is proof, right? And all different kinds of proof. This can be medical proof. It can be sales proof, unit sales proof, or just happy customer proof, right? And direct and clear. What is the kind of proof? Use your data if you have it. Show accolades if you have it, seen on Shark Tank, etc. And then don't use AI. Show real customers. That's the best thing to do. and then get the point across. 2 seconds doesn't have to be wildly complicated. Then number 4, of course, we're all familiar with the us versus them comparison chart. We like using this either in the secondary images or the A+, or both. Not all brands need to do comparisons if you don't want to compromise value, but many brands, there is a reason to buy you versus some other products that don't solve the problem. So this is a good way to set it up. And 3 to 5, compare against either one alternative or 2, no more, and then use sales-oriented language. What makes us so different? What makes us better? Why should you choose us, right? And get the point across quick. You can use icons, and then, of course, bright colors for us, dull colors for them. Best practices on that one. Number 5, the use case image. How would a customer actually use this? And this one, simple as well. You can see right here, straight to curly hair. That's exactly how you would use it. Why take Optimum Nutrition Creatine? Muscle building and support. Super simple, but checks that box of, oh, I wanted to find something that helps me build muscle and support that. All right, that answered my question right there in the image. So what will customers use it? So who's it for? What's it for? Where's it for? Right? Keep it short and sweet. You don't need a ton of text, and you can do 1 use case. You can do up to 3. I wouldn't do any more than 3. And again, it's got to follow that 3-second rule. They need to understand what, who, what, and where it's for in 3 seconds or less, and it should still look good. Then our last one, the what's inside, and this looks different if you're a food and bev, supplement, health product, etc. Even mattresses, it's like what's inside. This is about the expectation setting for the customer, right? And make sure the customer knows what they're getting when they purchase this before they actually go and click buy. So that's checking the boxes and answering their questions. Should be very simple and on brand. And then again, if your product has ingredients, this is kind of the space to talk about that as well. So what's the difference between good content and great content? Higher conversion rates, more conversions overall, and importantly, lower negative customer experience and return rate, because you're communicating stuff before they actually buy it. So you're diverting away those customers that aren't qualified. And then, of course, at the end of the day, more profit. So if you want a checklist to use for your products, just connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm under Dave Seybert, and I'll send you kind of our Miro board that you can run through all of your images and make sure that it checks the boxes for all of our best practices. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you, David. That was very helpful. Earl, you're next, please.
Yeah, Dave, Clem, and Andrew, great stuff. I'm gonna turn my video off. I've got 2 rebound kids, 22 and 25-year-olds working out of the house right now as well. So little bandwidth issues here. Anyways, so I have a question. So does anyone know? This might be dating myself. There is a famous slogan, advertising slogan by Victor Kayam from Remington Shavers. I don't know if anyone knows that at all. I'm probably dating myself. But it was, I liked the shaver so much, I bought the company. So this is back in the late 70s, early 80s, and that's kind of in the in my era, basically. So and the reason I bring that up is because that is oops, hold on a second. Hold on. Does everyone see my screen here? Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, we see a screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what's okay. So anyways, the reason I bring that up is because I feel I'm an owner of a golf brand myself. And so for some reason, I'm having issues seeing my screen here. Sorry, guys. Let's see here. Okay, let's see. Is everybody seeing this?
Yeah, we're seeing the first slide.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I cannot. Huh. Okay, there we go. Sorry, my bad. So anyway, so the reason I bring that up is because I kind of, I'm an owner of a golf brand, and so I like what Flat River has done for me and my golf brand so much that I wish I could buy the company. Obviously not, but I want to tell the story, right? Because they've done such a great job. I had several of the issues that many brands have. Competitors. I had an ASIN suspended. I was out of stock. Dropping rankings. Increased Amazon fees, and then me and my business partners were like, we never knew exactly what we were making, and had issues there. So, anyway, so that's kind of why when I worked with a couple agencies, done some stuff on our own, and then now got introduced to Flat River a little over a year and a half ago, and my personal brand sales have increased by about 40%. My time has lessened to about 5 minutes a week, and I'm never out of stock. So those are some really good benefits of working with Flat River. And let me just give you a little background on Flat River. So basically, Flat River Group, this slide's a little bit old, but it's been around about 14 years now. 100% vendor central. So there's 2 vendor central accounts that they operate through. And they're a top 10 vendor in many different categories on Amazon. Let's see, I don't know why. Can you guys see my second screen here?
No, but you can probably tap on the picture on the left, like under first slide, and it will switch.
Yeah, let's see. I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm having some issues here. It says my screen sharing is paused. Anyways,
try restarting it if you want.
Yeah, no problem. So, anyways, let's see. Sorry about this, guys. Just having some technical difficulties here. Let's see. Okay. Let's do this. Okay, I'll just, I'm having some issues, I think, with some bandwidth, so sorry about this. Anyways, so Flat River basically has been around about 14 years. Worked with about 600 different brands under those 2 vendor central accounts. And we basically do everything from we buy product, warehouse it, ship it into Amazon's DCs, handle the advertising 100%, handle the relationship with Amazon. And the nice thing about Flat River is we ship about 4 million packages from our warehouse that are basically Amazon's mistake. So it's about a $40 million business a year that Flat River does. And so the benefit to the brand is that as long as that brand has stock in Flat River's warehouse, they're able to, Flat River's warehouses are Amazon Prime certified. So they're never out of stock on Amazon. So they're able to ship if there's an issue getting product into Amazon's DCs, or an issue with Amazon going out of stock for any reason, which is nice. The other thing is that we also work with we have 1P relationships with about 30 other e-commerce retailers. So Walmart, Target, Kohl's, QVC, HSN, Home Depot, Lowe's. So while Amazon is obviously the biggie, about 85% of our sales, those are nice, add-ons and additions to help not only with branding, but also increase sales. And basically, it's very simple. So you just, brands ship in product to, the warehouses. So we have 4 warehouses, and then Flat River Group takes it from there 100%. So, funding the advertising, handling, the relationship with Amazon. So Flat River has an SVS. So I don't know what that exactly stands for, but basically it just means that they do not have to, write up a ticket on Amazon. If they can call somebody or send an email. And so essentially where Flat River gets a lot of people that have interest is from people that are under the threshold, smaller brands, $1 to $10 million brands that could benefit from going from Seller Central to Vendor Central, but are not getting the invite. The second thing is that Amazon is terminating a lot of Vendor Central accounts. So those accounts have the option to go to Seller Central which is a nice option, and they also have the ability to work with Flat River and stay with Vendor Central. And then the third type of brand that we're finding success with are those brands that have Vendor Central accounts, but that their Vendor Central manager is basically out of pocket. They can't get anything done. So a lot of smaller brands that are under typically 15 million are having some issues there with that. So really, the nice thing is, also about going from Seller Central to Vendor Central is that, the payment, Flat River pays monthly on what they sell to Amazon. So for whatever is sold into Amazon in June, they pay the brand by July 7th, which is much faster than how they get paid currently on Seller Central, which is waiting for the consumer to order. So, essentially, with Flat River, I think it was stated best by the CEO when we reposted this on LinkedIn. He said, "Grow and simplify your Amazon business at the same time. Know exactly what you're making and never go out of stock." So it's a very simple program. If you have any questions, further questions, I'm happy to talk to anybody on LinkedIn anytime. I talk to several brands and agencies all day long. So those are the main points that I can think of, and so it's just a very nice and simple program for brands that want to transition over to Vendor Central.
Thank you, Earl. That was very helpful. Be cool if some sellers would transition to 1P. So guys, who is next? Let me check. Next, we have Brian. Brian, please.
Thanks, Clem. Let's share my screen here. Can you see it okay?
Yeah, perfectly.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks for the time. Thanks, guys. Every other talk has been awesome so far. I want to pick up on Andrew, his prompt to encourage everyone to be omni-channel brands, and that's something that I know we all have a love-hate relationship with Amazon at times, and Andrew brought up a number of reasons on why we need to look beyond Amazon, and it can actually supercharge our Amazon growth. So I'm going to talk about the same thing with a little different take. And I want to encourage everyone that you don't just have an Amazon brand, you have a brand, and you're leaving money and opportunities and having some risk if you're just focused on one channel. So that's my challenge to everyone. And so my premise, and I really believe this, the D2C playbook is dead. This D2C playbook is dead, where it's just, Amazon and Shopify. I think omni-channel strategy now, it's not just a growth strategy. It's not a nice to have. It's not just to increase your valuation, but it really is about survival. And so the goal is many, many channels for your products. Obviously, there's a lot of complexity there, which I'll get into, but the goal is to have multiple channels and growth channels outside of Amazon, which in many cases will create a halo effect on Amazon. So, and on the previous slide, I showed a lot of chain retailers. It's not just about chain retailers. Independent retailers can be massive as well. And when you look at these numbers here, I don't know if you can see the details. I'm happy to send this later. But for example, there's 444,000 licensed salons, spas, and barbershops in the US. There's 198,000 independent clothing boutiques, almost 19,000 independent pharmacies, 17,000 pet stores. I mean, there are some huge numbers in the US market. No one, I shouldn't say no one, it's very overlooked very, very often. And so we created a system to help create growth in national retail, regional retail, retail across all classes of trade, but most importantly, independent retail as well. So we have a fractional organization that helps do this for brands. So we really can become your all-in-one growth partner, fractional sales office, strategy, pricing strategy, packaging. Like David brought up some excellent examples of like the science behind listing images. It's the same thing with retail. You really need to know the rule book, the playbook, strategy. You don't get a second chance many times to make an impression with a retail buyer. And so that's what we help with. So who am I? I launched over 150 products in 10,000 retail doors with a retail first strategy about 7 years ago. I've been doing retail for over 15 years. I own brands as well. I'm not just consulting on it. I actually do it as well. So we have a portfolio of brands. We sell in about 25 different channels. I always say I made every Amazon mistake in the book, and I'm learning constantly. So this talk has been awesome. I've picked up so many nuggets today, and all of these things have kind of given me a framework to help other brands who who really want to capitalize on retail and then also just convert inventory to cash. So I want to talk about one thing real quick. Most brands have silent killers in their warehouse. What are these? It's dead stock. It's SKUs that haven't moved in months, tying up cash, eating storage fees, dragging down your margins. And many times, and I can speak from my own experience here, sometimes it's an emotional attachment to products where you're like, God, we put so much love. This packaging is amazing. The product is just incredible. If it's not selling, it's dragging you down. And so we have some clear ways where, to approach, how to fix that. But it really can become a growth killer. It's not just space. It's not just inventory, warehousing fees. It's trapped capital that you could use for better things. So it impacts cash flow. It slows down reorders of good products that are actually winning. And then, it's inevitable. It's in every business. Every inventory-based business has aging inventory. The key is really, what are you doing? How are you looking at it? How often are you looking at it? And then what channels can you sell that aging inventory to convert that to cash? So I just wanted to share one slide here. This is the channel that gets overlooked again and again. I had someone reach out the other day and they're like, I know you're a retail expert. Can you get us into good retailers, not just like a TJ Maxx? And I chuckled to myself. I was like, little do you know the volume that some of these discount retailers, TJ Maxx is an amazing retailer. It often gets overlooked because it's off-price discount, but they can play a valuable role in not just clearing aging inventory, but also strategically. I mean, one example, you can create a sub-brand that you sell at TJ Maxx, Nordstrom Rack, Ross, Burlington, etc. And that sub-brand doesn't affect MAP. It doesn't affect any of your other listings, but it can create some really nice cash flow. And the numbers are huge. I mean, I've had multiple programs where you're doing 10,000 units a month times, 10 SKUs, 20 SKUs. I mean, there's some real volume that can be done. And these retailers, what's interesting, the deals are discrete. So they're not listing those same products online. So it's not going to affect pricing in your other channels. They're clean programs. So if you know retail at all, there's, a Target, the drugstores are famous for these programs that are very costly, advertising, markdowns, guaranteed sales, all of these things. When you sell to the off-price guys, there's no markdowns, no deductions, and they pick up at your warehouse, freight collect, which is huge nowadays with shipping. And then, off-price can lead to bigger opportunities. I have so many reviews that say, you know what, I discovered the product at TJ Maxx or Nordstrom Rack, and I've been buying it ever since. And this is years and years and years. We learn a lot of, key learnings by putting products out, sometimes there in those channels before they actually go on Amazon. as well. And let's see here. One big retail order can really unlock a ton of revenue. So like I said, I mean, as high as, 10, 20,000 units in an order, 5,000 units, I mean, all day long. And you can convert that immediate inventory. You can get it out of your warehouse and get it on a road to cash. Now, the terms with a lot of these retailers, anywhere between 30 days and 60 days, but at least it's moving, and you have, you're going to get paid for it, and it's out of your warehouse. And then the other big aspect here is discovery and awareness. People discover products at retail often. So I want to talk a little bit about why selling beyond Amazon matters. Like I said, they discover products in physical stores. It drives legitimacy and visibility. When you're visible at retail, people still search, consumers still search on Amazon, but it gives them that extra like social proof, that proof point that this brand is legit and it's a real brand. And then having a multi-channel presence, it multiplies that trust, and it creates that halo effect. We're seeing it all day long. When we launch a new retail program, it takes time, but over time, over a couple months, we start to see that halo effect hit Amazon as well. Okay, so how do you know when the time is, and then what to avoid? So these are signals. So you're ready if you're getting lots and lots of repeat purchases, and it's greater than the category average. You have retailers reaching out in some cases. We had that. We had Urban Outfitters reached out to us, and they were seeing our product on Amazon, and then we ended up doing a program with Urban Outfitters, and that came independent of my efforts. So that was interesting. And then the other aspect, you're ready if you mastered fulfillment and margins, and you run a really, really tight program. Earl touched on a lot of these issues. You need to be retail ready. You need to really, really have a tight fulfillment process network, and you need to know your margin structure extremely well. So the key steps to avoid is treating retail like Amazon. You have to really, it's totally unique, and I'll get into it in the next slide. But you can't treat it just like Amazon. You have to really understand the psychology of a retail buyer. You have to understand their goals, their ambitions, and what they need from you as a brand. And then underestimating retail promo costs. And again, depending on the class of trade, promotion at retail may or may not be a factor. Okay, so the playbook here is, turn Amazon wins into retail shelf space. So the interesting part is, I've had thousands of meetings with retail buyers, and increasingly when I have a meeting, the first thing they do is look on Amazon, and they look at you, they look at your competitors, they read reviews, etc. They look on TikTok Shop, they look at your socials. They are ninjas at knowing what they do. I have tremendous respect for retail buyers, and they have every tool in the book to look at this data. But like David mentioned, all the psychology of those listing images, everything, that's all packaging. They're going to be looking at that. So it's very important to highlight, the reviews, how you compare to competitors, etc. In that retail pitch book. You want to highlight your community, your social footprint, your marketing initiatives. These all equal foot traffic for a retailer. That's their ultimate goal. They need people coming into their stores to see the assortment. And then the big thing is you need to do comp research. I'm doing store visits all the time, not me necessarily, but my team. We're constantly taking photos, looking at pricing strategies. We just had a big meeting yesterday about a Costco program. And the level of detail that we're looking at, every single call out and every competitor product, where we fit in, how we can add value. these programs are, it could be a $5 to $7 million program. There's a lot that goes into it. And if you don't do your homework, then you're never even going to get a second meeting. So then the other idea is use retail to unlock PR and trial of your products. And then lastly, leverage this multi-channel growth to boost brand equity. I mean, like I said, the valuations increase if you're a true omni-channel brand. And yeah, let's see. And then, I'm talking a lot about retail. I am a complete fan of, everything Andrew talked about. Buy with Prime is amazing. There's so many other channels. There's Flip, there's Caro, there's so many other marketplaces that I think are all ways, as long as you have brand consistency and map pricing or pricing consistency, these can be other really good channels. TikTok Shop is also, I think, needs to be seriously looked at. It creates a massive halo effect on Amazon. And, people discover on TikTok, then they buy on Amazon. So I think it's really important. There's a lot of non-traditional channels as well, gifting sites, subscription boxes, there's corporate programs, and then there's even some really, non-traditional channels that people overlook. As far as, hotels and motel, like gift shops and different things like that. So we look at all of them to create a program for a brand. That's pretty much it for me. I have multiple different cheat sheets to help you kind of run this playbook. Happy to help. We do anything from retail readiness audits. We do retail pitch decks, pricing strategies. We help move aging inventory on behalf of brands. And then we have a 90-day program to take you from a single channel or dual channel brand to a full omni-channel brand as well. It's our retail expansion program. So you can find me on LinkedIn. I have a QR code for a meeting, or my email address is here.
Thank you, Brian. And our last speaker for today, Chris, please, it's your time. Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button. Hey, everyone. Thanks, Brian. Great to hear from you, and awesome to be part of this great lineup of speakers. Excited to talk to you all about the topic that I'm going to share today. I'm going to share my screen here one sec, and we will get it started from there. Okay, here we go. All right, thumbs up, you can see my screen?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to talk about incrementality. Often a bit of a hot topic or like buzzword in the Amazon world and advertising world, but I'm going to talk about how to make it not a buzzword, make it something real that you don't have to use a ton of tech or super advanced analytics just to prove out if your ads are doing anything. So first, a little bit about me. So I'm the co-founder and CEO at Cartograph. I come from a little bit more of a corporate world background. Spent most of my career at McKinsey & Company, being a consultant there, working across a lot of marketing and sales for larger companies in mostly consumer-facing brands. And co-founded Cartograph about 7 years ago with my co-founder. He built the first Amazon team at GE in consumer electronics, built that into a very large vendor central business in the early 2010s. And then met some brands that in food and beverage he was more passionate about. We were friends from college and launched Cartograph. So we're a full service agency based in the United States. We've got about 75 people on the team. We work actively with over 100 different brands in a full service capacity. We manage north of 600 million a year in GMV, spend north of $60 million in ads across the full funnel on Amazon, and we really focus on CPG in our categories. So here's a sample of the brands that we work on. some very similar to the ones that you guys are talking about. So maybe some familiar faces or some we have overlap on. But we work in basically 5 categories: food and beverage, supplements, beauty, pet, and then some baby products, primarily consumables. So all of our products are generally premium price, differentiated products. They tend to be venture backed. They're all omni-channel, and generally like a challenger brand, someone who is making a new or better or different version of an older category that they might be powering D2C, they might be powering through retail channels. We've worked with a lot of pretty exciting brands over the years, mostly US based. We do a little bit in Europe, fair bit in Canada and Mexico. And we've won Amazon Ads Awards a couple times, with some of our work with Necessaire and some of our work with Kettle and Fire. And we're a top performer with Instacart's list as well. So incrementality in ads. First, what is incrementality? I think it's a really simple concept within a confusing, annoyingly complex word. Are my ads actually doing anything? Are they actually driving sales? At the end of the day, ads should just be growing the business. And I think most of us here know that ad results can be very misleading. If you want higher ROAS, run more branded ads. Like you probably get your ROAS up. You want more organic sales? Turn off some of your last touch attribution stuff. You can pump that metric. It's very easy to drive these KPIs, which are kind of like vanity metrics. And so it's very easy to get bogged down in these kind of things. So AMC has kind of been the hot thing of the last couple of years. Amazon released a massive data set, Amazon's marketing cloud, which let you look at basically every single consumer signal on the Amazon platform. Super powerful, but something that big, people didn't really know how to use it, right? And it also, there was reasonable barriers to entry. You had to be an SQL developer to actually run queries against it. There's now some tech tools that let you use it in a more simple way. We really like the tools at IntentWise to look at it. But now you can construct full funnel consumer journeys. So this is pretty compelling for ads. You could say, okay, this ad, someone sees this, then they might search that, then they might see this other branded ad, then they land on a PDP, then they buy the product. Didn't necessarily solve the problem though. We started seeing everywhere quotes like this sentence: customers who saw DSP ad X were 40% more likely to purchase. Is this incrementality? I argue no. It is the most classic definition of anyone who took statistics in school of correlation but not causation. Rather than the ad causing somebody to purchase, it might just be that you're good at constructing a DSP audience that predicts your purchasers. People who are already going to purchase, you're targeting them up the funnel. You might not even be driving incrementality. It's circular logic. And so this is all over a lot of what I call first wave AMC reporting. And so we've been very cautious with AMC. We think it's not just a silver bullet. You often can overpromise and overconfuse with data with AMC. So next page, a bit of a eye chart, but this is the screenshot this page. This is all the secrets, all the meat of this presentation of how we measure incrementality across the funnel in very specific tests. And my rules with advertising with Amazon in general is it has to make sense and it has to be plain English. And so when you get into super complex analytics, you often lose sight of that. So I'll run through each of these, and really what they are is a different lens of the business, what metric you should look at, and it should prove to you whether or not you actually might be getting sales from your advertisements. So first off, sales have to go up. If you're advertising and your sales aren't going up, you're probably not winning. There's unique cases where this could be the case if you're in a declining category, but you might have an even bigger problem if that's the case. So generally, top line sales should be going up, and they should generally be going up by more than your advertising dollars. Second, you want to check if you're winning on market share. You can use a market share tool like Jungle Scout or Helium 10. I also think bestseller ranking is a really consistent tool because it will tell you just daily unit velocity. And so it pins, it's a relative basis measurement. If you are advancing on it, and you can use both top line sales rank as well as bestseller ranking, it means you're taking more share. And then the other one on market share, it's a little bit related to awareness, is look at branded search volume. So if you are a brand, the number of people searching, entering queries in, is a really good signal of people are seeing my ads and more people are acting upon it. Then getting into the actual three components of the funnel: top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. Basically, this is how we segment our ads in terms of like big kind of like media awareness campaigns, a little bit more like on platform conquesting, and then conversion campaigns like branded ads. So top of funnel, when you're running awareness media campaigns, you're doing broad DSP, streaming TV, stuff that's really splashing and getting a ton of impressions. In addition, like branded search volume is my favorite measurement of these types of campaigns because it's pure, you can't game it. It's not like, it really just indicates if people are going to your brand. But the other thing that you can do if you really want to test is do an A/B test control against metro markets. So you can target your audience in one major metro area in the US, and then don't run it in a couple other areas, and then measure your sales performance lift between the two. It's really hard to run a controlled ad on Amazon because you can't really A/B on pay-per-click, but this is one of the ones where you can actually see, are people responding to this, and do we get some kind of sales results from it? For middle of funnel, what we consider like your consideration segment, which is like category and competitor ads, the metric we like to look at is look at your search query performance win rate on your top 10 category or competitor terms. And then you run incrementality testing via bid pullbacks. So the question to ask is, are you gaining ground on key category terms where customers are making decisions? And so if you are gaining that ground, your ads might be working. And then if you're not sure, you might be overspending, pull that bid back, see if week over week you start to lose share. Then those incremental dollars, you're proving that those incremental dollars are actually driving share. So you can measure this with share of voice, click share, conversion share tracking, and those bid pullback tests I mentioned. The last one is bottom of funnel, conversion in branded terms. This is generally the easiest one to implement, but one that you see a lot of folks end up overspending. Maybe they got a little bit too fixated on having a higher ROAS. And so for this, you do a very simple spend pullback with like lowered bid aggressiveness while monitoring your search query performance report. So generally speaking, the question to ask is, can you reduce costs while maintaining your share and conversions on branded queries? So you look at search query performance report, and generally on your branded term, you should have north of 80% click share, north of 90 to 95% cart and conversion share. That's generally a healthy campaign. Like if you see you're under that, maybe you have like a funky category dynamic where there's like a product in a totally different category with same brand name. It happens sometimes, but generally that's a pretty good benchmark. So if you're there or higher, what you should start to do is test reducing your bid aggressiveness. So you can just take bids down on that term and then monitor those share metrics, because you're going to win fewer placements on the ads. You're going to pay for fewer clicks in theory. But if your sales isn't going down, you're actually holding the line on your branded spend. Oftentimes you can save like a few points of sales on this. You might be spending 10% on branded and you can drop it to 7 without an impact to your percent of click, cart, and conversions here. So this is This is a fun test. It's pretty easy to implement. You don't need super advanced tech. You don't need super advanced like spreadsheet workflows for it. You can just look at the before and after, do the manual bids, and yeah, hopefully save yourself some money. And answer the question once and for all, like, are these dollars actually working for me, or are they just going to waste? That's it for me.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you guys for being with us. Unfortunately, we do not have time for the Q&A session, but please feel free to reach out personally to any one of us. You'll have our contact info, and pleasure to host all of you guys, and hope you enjoyed it as well.
Thanks, Clint.
Thank you. Bye.